4-25 coming into this one. Pittsburgh is 19-40, and shadows are really going to become an issue as this game goes on. They're already starting to creep into foul territory down the third base line and behind home plate. It's just another absolutely picture-perfect day off the shores of Lake Erie as the Indians and Pirates play under blue skies and sunshine and just a whisper of a breeze that isn't any factor, but just another reminder of what an incredible summer we have had here in Northeast Ohio. Roman DeJesus is the home plate umpire today. It'll be Brennan Miller making the calls at first. Pat Hoberg is at third, and Bill Welke, the third base umpire, and the crew chief. 325 down the lines, 370 to left center, 375 to right center, 400 to dead center. The 19-foot wall in left center, and half of center field. Then the rest of the way, it's 9 feet high. Cal Quantrill will get the start today, as this will be a bullpen game. And he, of course, is used to this. He was a starter last year with San Diego. This year has worked out of the bullpen. But the Indians did start him 5 days ago, and he really pitched well against the White Sox when he went 4 shutout innings, gave up 1 hit. He only made 38 pitches. He won't be going 4 innings today unless he can do that and make about 25 pitches. The Indians really want to keep his pitch count down so he's ready for Tuesday night. Adam Frazier leads it off the wind, and today's first pitch is in there, a strike, and we're underway at the corner of Carnegie in Ontario with a game time temperature of 80 degrees. Quantrill, 6'3", 195. The 25-year-old right-hander's next pitch is hit on the ground weakly on the right side. To his right, the second baseman Hernandez with a backhand in the throw to first. And it only took 2 pitches, and Cal Quantrill has retired Adam Frazier. Josh Naylor's in left, Oscar Mercado in center, and Jordan Luplo's in right. Tyler Naquin, who fouled that ball off his foot again last night, is able to play if needed today. Carlos Santana at first, Cesar Hernandez at second, Francisco Lindor at short, Jose Ramirez at third, Roberto Perez catching. First pitch strike to Ke'Bryan Hayes. The rookie third baseman had a 5-hit game last night, his best ever in his young major league career. Quantrill pumps, delivers. Hayes rips one into right field. He has had a base hit in each of his last 7 at-bats. Wow. So Ke'Bryan Hayes is aboard with a 1-out single, and here's Colin Moran, who had a 3-run bomb last night and knocked in 4. Quantrill is a guy that throws his sinker 48% of the time and his slider 37% of the time. And primarily this year he's throwing those pitches the majority of time because he was working out of the bullpen. Now he does have a changeup and a 4-seam fastball, and you'll see more of that when he's starting than you do when he's relieving. Left-handed hitting Colin Moran, shift to the right, and the pitch is in there, called strike. The amount of permutations involving the playoff scenario would make a computer blow up. There are 44 different playoff scenarios around Major League Baseball going into the season finale. Now the 0-1 pitch, and before it's made, a throw to first and back with a dive is Hayes. Really, for the Indians, it's pretty simple. If they lose today, they're the number 7 seed. Now, where they're going, we won't know until probably, for sure, you would think by 7 o'clock tonight, all the games should be done. Here is the set, and here is the 0-1. Checked on a pitch that was a little outside. Ball 1, strike 1. Now, if the Indians win today, they have a shot to be the number 4 seed and host the first round here starting Tuesday night. But the only way that happens is if the Indians win and the White Sox lose to the Cubs. Now the 1-1, swing and a miss, and the count of 1-2. If the Indians win and White Sox win, the White Sox will finish ahead of the Indians and have the number 4 seed. If the Indians lose, it doesn't matter what the White Sox do. And again, if the Indians win and the White Sox lose, then the White Sox hit the road and the Indians stay home. Now the 1-2 pitch. And Moran fouled it back. We'll do it again at 1-2. There are countless, and I mean countless other scenarios. And the Indians could face here at home, if they're the number 4 seed, the Yankees or the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of things have to happen, but the way this season's going, who knows? No score, first inning, as Moran steps away. Now, if the Yankees win today, they're the number 5 seed. One thing the Yankees know is they're going on the road. The pitch, swing and a miss. Moran chased. Pitch was a high fastball. And strikeout number 1 for Cal Quantrill. So 2 down, runner at first. First inning, no score. Hey, the Toyota 4Runner is ready for anything, anytime, anywhere. Legendary off-road capabilities, aggressive design, the latest technology, all at your fingertips. Also, the most advanced safety features. You can find out more at buyatoyota.com. Josh Bell, the dangerous switch-hitting first baseman. He'll swing it left-handed. .230 batting average, 8 homers, and 22 RBIs. So the Yankees know for sure, doesn't matter what they do today, they're going on the road to start the playoffs. Now they're set in the pitch, and it's in there, strike. If the Yankees win today, they're the number 5 seed. If the Yankees would lose today, and if Toronto would win, the Yankees would be going to Tampa as the number 8 seed. The pitch. And it's down low, ball 1, 1-1. Probably the last thing that the Yankees want is any part of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was 8-2 against New York this year. Now, again, playoffs, clean slate, we know all that, but you got to believe the Yankees do not want any part of starting the playoffs at Tropicana Field. Now the set. Now the 1-1. Swung on, Topper back to the mound, jumping up to grab it as Quantrill. Underhand flip to first. The pride of the University of Akron, J.T. Brubaker, is on to pitch as J.T. Brubaker faces the Indians for the second time this year. He pitched against the Tribe back in August, going 3 innings, giving up 3 runs. Brubaker, 26 years of age, 6'3", 185. Frankie Lindor, switch hitter, batting left-handed. The wind and the pitch, and Lindor fouling it at the plate, a strike. Brubaker is a guy that relies primarily on 2 pitches, sinker, slider. Throws his sinker 35% of the time, and his slider almost as much, 32%. Four-seam fastball 15% of the time. Curveball 14% of the time. Hardly ever throws his changeup. Lindor finishing off a disappointing regular season, batting .264, 8 homers, 27 RBIs. He sends a weak fly ball to shallow center. Brian Reynolds comes in, and that's out number 1. And here's a guy that throws his changeup 4% of the time. He obviously read the scouting book. Lindor and the rest of the Indians are vulnerable to changeups. Lindor was lunging at that changeup and hit the weak fly out to center. So Brubaker may change his whole approach based on the fact that all season long the Indians have been befuddled by the changeup. Cesar Hernandez takes down and in a ball. Hernandez batting .283, 3 homers, 20 RBIs. Now the windup. Now the 1-0 pitch. And it's a little bit low, a sinker. Ball 2, 2-0. Brubaker on the year is 1-3 with a 4.46 ERA. His 9th start, he's worked twice out of the bullpen. He delivers, and it's swung on and missed, and the count 2-1. Brubaker averages 9 strikeouts per 9 innings and 3 walks. He works third base side of the rubber. He kicks, delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Another good sinker. 2 balls, 2 strikes. JT Brubaker. Now the windup. Now the 2-2. And a check swing. Did he go? Nope. Full count. Brubaker was drafted by the Pirates in the 6th round 5 years ago. Started at Tecumseh High School over there in the Springfield, Ohio area. Now the payoff pitch. Swung on, grounded toward first, backhanded by Bell. He'll flip to Brubaker covering, bang, bang play, and Hernandez almost beat it out. But the out is recorded, and that is out number 2. And that'll bring up Jose Ramirez, switch hitter batting left-handed. Tecumseh High School is in New Carlisle, Ohio. His dad, Frank, spent 2 years in the Yankee farm system as a pitcher. So, like father, like son, only the son has gone further. No score, 2 down. Jose Ramirez batting left-handed, looks at a called strike. Ramirez, over the last 15 games, hitting .404 with 8 homers, 20 RBIs. His surge to maybe win the MVP in the American League. He gets hit on the leg. So Brubaker drills Ramirez, and that one stung. And Jose Ramirez is aboard with 2 down here in inning number 1. No score for Carlos Santana, the switch hitter batting left-handed. The good news is he got hit in the thigh area. That hurts, but a lot better getting hit where you have some meat than, say, in the shin bone area or the knee. Whether you're shipping from Cleveland or through Cleveland, choose Global Transport, Northeast Ohio's preferred provider for transportation and logistics management. JT Riddles in left, Brian Reynolds in center, Jose Ozuna in right, Josh Bell at first, Adam Frazier at second, Eric Gonzalez at short, Ke'Bryan Hayes at third, and the catcher today, they just activated him from their alternate camp, Andrew Susak. Well, now, Sandy Alomar and James Quinlan, one of the Indians' trainers, out to check on Ramirez, who is still bothered. I mean, this is the danger of these last games. The team you're playing has nothing to play for except pride. And the last thing in the world the Indians can afford now is an injury to Jose Ramirez, and he's doing some knee bends to try to see if he can stay in this ballgame. So Jose Ramirez hit in the thigh area with 2 down. No score first inning, and he'll stay in the ballgame. Well, the wackiness of this playoff scenario is such that, as we mentioned, the Indians could be playing one of 5 teams. And it's just bizarro. I mean, the Indians are preparing for the possibility of playing Oakland, Chicago, Minnesota, Toronto, or the New York Yankees. Think of that. That's only in the first round. Carlos Santana with a shift onto the right, looks at a breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1. I mean, those are all the scenarios that exist here. And it's even crazier in the National League, where some teams need to win today to finish 500 and clinch a playoff spot. And the Cardinals could still be looking at potentially playing a doubleheader in Detroit tomorrow. The 1-0 pitch, and it's outside, a sinker 2-0. And that's where you come up with 44 different scenarios in which the playoff picture may finally resolve itself to just one of those at some time tonight, or maybe sometime tomorrow. The only locks right now in the American League as far as seeding, we know the 8 playoff teams. Tampa Bay is number 1. That's not changing. And Houston's number 6. That's not changing as far as the seeding. Everything else up for grabs. The pitch. Swung on, ripped into right, a base hit by Santana near the line. Osuna over to not cut it off. It goes to the wall, and Ramirez is into third. Santana with a double. I'm telling you, Ramirez normally scores on that, but he's obviously hurting running the bases. And Carlos Santana settles for just his 6th double of the year. So with 2 down, Ramirez is at third, Santana is at second, and Franmil Reyes, like Santana, really struggling. Reyes has not homered since September 1st and is batting .162 since the beginning of the month. Man, Indians desperately have to have some way, somehow, Reyes and Santana, if not get hot, at least get lukewarm. The pitch, and it's a breaking ball down low for ball 1. If Santana and Reyes aren't able to do anything offensively in the postseason, it'll be a short run for the Tribe because Ramirez will never get a pitch to swing at. But that changes if Santana and Reyes start hitting. Now the 1-0, and it's over but low, ball 2, 2-0. So this all started with 2 down. Ramirez got hit in the thigh by a pitch. Santana doubled, and now Brubaker behind on Reyes, 2-0. No score, first inning. Outfield a bit toward right, medium deep for Franmil. Breeze has picked up a little bit, blowing out toward right. The set in the pitch, and it's in there, a strike. 2-1. And boy, it would be huge to get ahead early in this game because the shadows are already starting to creep in, and it's going to be impossible at some point this afternoon to see the ball in the spin because of the shadows. The pitch, a swing and a miss. Off-speed slider, 2-2 the count. Reyes really pulling off the ball again. He did that early, then he got red hot, and now for a month, he's just kind of gotten away from staying on the ball and driving it the other way. Brubaker will look in. Now the right-hander brings the hands up, drops them to the belt, checks second, comes to the plate, and a swing and a miss on a slider away, and Reyes not able to deliver, and we'll go to the second. Well, the Indians and Pirates, no score in the second, and the left-handed hitting Brian Reynolds to the plate. Switch hitter batting left-handed today. Reynolds had a 2-run blast last night, but otherwise on the road this year, he's batting .104. Pitch is down low, 2-0. Pirates have been 6-21 on the road this year, but they're seemingly in every game they play. Now the wind and the 2-0. Swing and a foul tip into the catcher's mitt, 2-1. The Pirates have lost a major league tops of 15 games by 1 run. 7 of those 15 one-run losses have been in the month of September. That is crushing. And yet, manager Derek Shelton still has his club playing hard, despite one gut-wrenching loss after the other. Now the wind and 2-1 pitch. Swing and a smash into left center. Diving stop on one hop by Linder, up throwing. Got him! Now the Pirates may challenge that. What a play. That ball was by Lindor in left center, and he dove towards the outfield and somehow on a one-hop smash grabbed it and threw to first. But the Pirates say They want to challenge this. But that ball was by Lindor, and he made an incredible recovery. Now, with the naked eye, initially, it sure looked like he was safe, but he was called out, so there will be a managerial challenge. That is brought to you by U.S. Safety Gear. Call U.S. Safety Gear for your corporate apparel needs at 800-686-1459. U.S. Safety Gear, the preferred provider of game day apparel for the Cleveland Indians. Headsets are off. He's safe. Well, you like that. Brennan Miller blew the call at first, but there was no dawdling to try to make the umpires look good. And they said, no, you got it wrong. He's safe. So good effort by Lindor, but a base hit by Reynolds. Second Pirate hit. Here's shortstop Eric Gonzalez. Man, is he tailing off. A 119 batting average in his last 16 games. Cooper Tire, proud to be the partner of the Indians. Go with the Coopers. No score, second inning. Runner at first, nobody out. Quantrill's ready in the pitch. And it's swung on, double play, ball to short. Lindor to second one. Hernandez, quick release, got him, double play. So just like that, bases are empty. And there are 2 men out here in the second inning. No score, and JT Riddle will be the batter. The Indians made a roster move today. Adam Simber is back in the Indians bullpen just to give them another arm. After Logan Allen went 3 innings last night, he was, to say he's sent to the alternate camp is a misnomer. There is no alternate camp. He's on the taxi squad, basically. JT Riddle takes up an away ball 1. Left-handed hitter. He can play the infield today and left, batting 143. First appearance in this series. Quantrill, the former Stanford Cardinal, the 1-0 pitch. And it's in at the knees, a strike, 1-1. His dad, the last player ever produced by the University of Wisconsin to make it to the big leagues. The Badgers no longer have baseball due to Title IX. The pitch, bounced it in there, ball 2-1. And Paul Quantrill, what a relief pitcher he was. 13 years in the big leagues. And his son wants to start, and the Indians are still looking at him as a potential starter down the road. He delivers a swing and a high pop into shallow right. Hernandez there, Santana there, and Santana knocked the ball out of Hernandez's glove and into second base is JT Riddle. No idea what Santana was doing. Hernandez was waiting for it, shallow right, near the line, and Santana decided to try to make the catch instead with Hernandez camped under it, and he knocked it right out of his glove. And that should be an error on Santana. That should not be a double. Riddle is at second. You cannot punish a pitcher. He did his job as Jose Ozuna, and the error has to be on Santana. Man. And it is. Carlos Santana's just, I don't know if his offense is impacting his defense. Ozuna floats one shallow right. It's going to drop. Pirates take the lead, 1-0. But Santana had made himself into a pretty darn good first baseman, but this last 2 to 3 weeks, his play at first has been substandard. And he's just cost the Indians a run here. And the Pirates lead 1-0 on what should have been a quick inning for Cal Quantrill. So Ozuna has an RBI single on a bloop job to right. And here's Andrew Susac, the right-handed hitting catcher. He's played in the big leagues with San Francisco, Milwaukee, and Baltimore. Runner at first, 2 down, second inning. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The pitch. And he checks and takes. It's a little bit high, ball 1. We'll keep an eye on all the games that are significant today, which is almost every game. Or so it seems. There are some games that do not matter. The pitch swung on another pop-up into shallow right. Santana's walking toward the dugout. He goes, yeah, that didn't work so good. A blockbuster trade with San Diego for Mike Clevenger. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Pirates on an unearned run. Naylor, left-handed hitting left fielder, looks at a breaking ball strike. The Blaster Corporation's based in Cleveland, makers of PB Blaster, #1 for loosening up rusted parts. Now the windup. Now the 0-1 pitch. And it's inside a ball, 1-1. Always use Blaster products. Work it like a pro. Brubaker into the motion. And the right-hander's 1-1. And he went backdoor with a curveball for a strike, 1-2. Rick Remblak, who was a tremendous college coach at Kent State, at Wake Forest, and at Akron. It was he and his assistant, Fred Worth, that discovered J.T. Brubaker. Naylor hits a little weak topper down the first base line that just went foul in front of the bag. Still a 1-2 count. Brubaker had graduated from Tecumseh High School in New Carlisle and was going to either play at Division II Ashland or at Division III Marietta. Both are really good baseball programs, but one's D2, one's D3. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Really good players play at those levels, but let's face it, those kids want to play D1 for the most part. But nobody in the Division I level had expressed any interest in Brubaker. He was an infielder and a pitcher in high school. Here is the windup by Brubaker and the pitch to Naylor. And he swings and bangs one into right center, a base hit. So Naylor has the Indians' second hit. He makes a big turn at first. He better scamper back, and he does with a head-first slide. Naylor plays like his pants are on fire. He took a turn that almost got him a third of the way to second. And had the Pirates reacted a little more quickly, he would have been thrown out trying to go back to the bag. Leadoff single for Jordan Luplow as the right-handed hitters in right field today with Naylor at first. But in any case, Rick Remblak's top assistant, Fred Worth, was watching J.T. Brubaker as a shortstop and said, he's not shortstop at the D1 level. But then he saw him take the mound. Here's the set and the pitch, and it's low a ball. And he was throwing fastballs only in the low to mid-80s. Now, you say only, but nowadays it seems like everyone's all caught up in, this high school kid needs to throw in the mid-90s. Well, not really. I mean, if you know what you're doing as a scout or as a coach, you see potential and know that you can get that kid to that level eventually. The pitch, and he went breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. I mean, anybody can go scout a kid throwing mid-90s and say, we ought to offer him a scholarship. It's coaches like Rick Remblak and Fred Worth that saw Brubaker throwing in the low to mid-80s, but loved the potential. And they were right. Now the 1-1 pitch, swing and a bouncing ball to short. Gonzalez to second one. Frazier's relay got him by a half step. So the double play ball off the bat of Luplow goes 6-4-3. Pirates lead 1-0. Bases empty for the Indians. 2 down in the second. Rick Remblak was saying that at the time they really liked Brubaker's mechanics. They liked how loose his arm was. And next thing you know, a young man who was a senior, who was unsigned, had himself a scholarship to the University of Akron. Roberto Perez checks on a pitch. Did he go? No, he didn't. And it's ball one outside. And, well, he had a heck of a career at Akron. He was their Friday night starter as a freshman. It banged around, but, boy, he kept getting better and better. Now the windup and the 1-0. And it's outside a ball, 2-0. The Indians and Pirates now will deal with the shadows. They're starting to cover much of the batter's area. Everybody else in sunshine. The 2-0, and it's a strike 2-1. And with the shadows due for the hitter, they're trying to read the spin of the ball. They're seeing the spin, then they know a lot of times whether it's a breaking ball, fastball, the 2-1, and there's a called strike on a fastball, 2-2. And if you can't pick that spin up and recognize the pitch until it's on top of you, well, then it's too late. Pitcher's advantage working in these conditions. Now the 2-2, way outside, full count. Perez has had just a difficult season, no way around it. Had some shoulder issues, had a side issue, batting $160 with a homer, 5 RBIs. Just not the same player we saw a year ago. Now the wind by Brubaker and the pitch, and he fouls it back, and Perez stays alive at 3-2. Chris Antonetti said we will have news on Terry Francona after the game. Well, that certainly sounds ominous in regards to Tito coming back to manage the club in the playoffs. But we'll find out. Payoff. Check swing. Did he go? Peel at first. He didn't. And Perez has drawn the first walk. We told you about it on Friday night. Sandy Alomar had told us on the manager show Friday night the pitching rotation for the playoffs. So we've been telling you about it all weekend. But as we told you, it's obviously Shane Bieber on Tuesday, Carlos Carrasco on Wednesday. If needed on Thursday, Zach Plesac. The Indians went with Carrasco over Plesac. They like the experience factor and how well Carlos is pitching down the stretch. Oscar Mercado fouling it back a strike. Either guy would have been a great choice, but the Indians just felt like in this first round of the playoffs, if they lose game one, they want that experience of Carlos Carrasco for game two. But anytime Shane Bieber's your game one pitcher, wow, edge to the Indians no matter who you're facing. Now the set by Brubaker. Now the 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. The Indians will leave tonight to go wherever they're going if they don't secure the number 4 seed. And the only way the Indians do that is win and the White Sox lose to the Cubs. Now the set, now the 2-strike pitch. Mercado laid off. It was low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Cubs and White Sox are playing on the south side, and the Cubs have scored 5 in the second inning. Sure, that's not last night. Chris Bryant has homered again. Last night he hit a grand slam. And so the Cubs have jumped on the White Sox, and that's Reynaldo Lopez. The pitch, a swing and a miss. Mercado hitting a $122 has struck out. Boy, in the top of the third, Pirates lead the Indians 1-0. Adam Frazier grounded out his first time up. The left-handed hitting second baseman takes Cal Quantrill's first offering up for ball 1. Tribe fans, while you listen to the game, enjoy the great taste of Montgomery Inn, the official barbecue of the Indians. The pitch. Frazier looks. It's in there. Slider strike. 1-1. Montgomery Inn is available at your local grocer and online. MontgomeryInn.com. Montgomery Inn, the Ribs King. Into the wind, the 1-1. And Frazier sends a weak fly into shallow right center. And on the run racing is Oscar Mercado, the Indian center fielder, to snag it for the out. Here's Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's had base hits in his last 7 at-bats. So, Miami is leading the Yankees 3-0. Toronto, as Cal Quantrill kicks and delivers. And, I guess that pitch was down and in maybe. Ball 1. Toronto is leading Baltimore 1-0 in the third. Here's the wind. Here's the 1-0. There's a strike, 1-1. If the Yankees lose and Toronto wins and the Indians win and the White Sox lose, the pitch, swing and a fly ball, pretty well hit, deep center field. Mercado's backtrack, leaps at the wall, and it's out of here. 2-0 Pittsburgh. Ke'Bryan Hayes has hits in his last 8 at-bats, and he just homered to center. Holy cow. And the Pirates lead 2-0, and Ke'Bryan Hayes is having a weekend he'll never forget. 8 hits in his last 8 at-bats. That is mind-boggling.
I know it's small sample size, but you got to love what you're seeing if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates from this kid.
Well, however the Indians are pitching him, they may need to rethink it. Here's Colin Moran, struck out his first time up. Infield shift to the right, 2-0 Pittsburgh. And he bunts it third base side with nobody there, but it's foul. And again, for Colin Moran to be bunting the number 3 hitter, I'm sorry, that's just selfish. He's not a 3-hole hitter to bunt. They want him to swing the bat. He had a 3-run homer last night. These guys that... Oh, never mind. Why'd you get me going, Rosie? But if the Indians would win, the White Sox lose, Blue Jays win, Yankees lose, the Indians would host Toronto Tuesday.
Remarkable.
The 0-1, he bunts it again. Foul and out of play. Well, there's an adage in baseball, you can't argue dumb baseball. And that's dumb baseball, and you deserve to foul it off.
You'd think last day of the season you'd want to take your cuts anyway.
What's the difference if you hit 254, 255? Now the 0-2, high and wide, 1-2. If there was another game tomorrow, Derek Shelton ought to hit him 9th. That's what you want your number 9 hitter to do, bunt. 2-0 Pirates leading. It's the 3rd inning. Moran, the 3-hole hitter, leads Pittsburgh in homers and runs batted in. The pitch to him, he swings and misses at a high fastball. 2 down.
Since Andy Van Slyke in 1994.
Bart Swain tells us that Ke'Bryan Hayes, who's had 8 hits in his last 8 at-bats, no Pirate has done that for 26 years. The last Pirate to do it, Andy Van Slyke in 1994. Here's Josh Bell, switch hitter batting left-handed, tapped to the mound his first time up. He bounces it weakly up the middle, behind the bag at second. Ramirez gloves it. Third baseman throws Bell out. But Ke'Bryan Hayes hitting in the shadows. The pitcher is still pitching out of sunshine, and it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. Second time through, Lindor flied out to shallow center his first time, batting left-handed, takes a curveball strike. Phil Maton will work the 4th inning, so Cal Quantrill's day will be done after 3, giving up 2 runs, 1 earned. Now the wind and the 0-1, and it's a fastball strike in the count. 0-2. Allie Gammon of Medina. Allie Gammon, today's contestant in the Liberty Ford Grand Slam giveaway. Lindor sends another routine fly to left, and Riddle is camped under it and circling it like it's closing time, and he made the catch. That is out number 1. That was a routine fly that he almost butchered.
How did he circle?
Like it's closing time. Here's Cesar Hernandez, grounded out his first time up. Hey, if the Indians hit a grand slam here this inning, the pitch to Hernandez, he shows bunt, takes down and in a ball. Then Allie Gammon of Medina is going to win a 2020 Ford Mustang from Liberty Ford. Visit libertyford.com. Check out all their great deals. Brubaker into the windup. Here it comes. And it's fouled back by Hernandez. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are just so many goofy scenarios out there in various games. Here is the windup. Here is the 1-1. Again, it's a bunt attempt by Hernandez out in front of the plate. Bare hand grab by Susac. The throw not in time. Now, that's when you lay down a bunt. When you're Cesar Hernandez and you're in the 2-hole, and he dropped that bunt down out in front of the plate, and Susac popped up from behind the plate, barehanded, spun it through to first, but Hernandez beat it out. Good bunt. So here's Jose Ramirez, switch hitter, batting left-handed.
You mentioned that scenario with the Yankees and Blue Jays last inning. That's where that unbalanced schedule for home and road games came into play.
Now the set, now the pitch, and it's swung on, fouled at the plate, strike one.
I mean, the Yankees just throttled the Blue Jays in New York, but they only played them 3 times there, and the Yankees had a hard time playing the Blue Jays in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's the Yankees' problem. You have a $200 million payroll, you ought to be able to play anywhere and win. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on, a little fly ball to left. Riddle is under it and now reaches up and snags it. I tell you what, you can tell Riddle is an infielder playing the outfield. Boy, he looks on routine fly balls really shaky out there. See if the Indians can make him pay for that if they hit a ball hard that way. So a runner is still at first with 2 down for Carlos Santana. Doubled his first time up. 2-0 the Pirates lead. But I'd be ashamed to be playing a team with the worst record in the game. And again, we know the Pirates play hard. We get it. But at the end of the day, this is a team you have to beat if you want home field advantage in the playoffs. The schedule favored the Indians this last weekend. The set in the pitch. Santana, it bounces in there and kicks to the left. And on the wild pitch, Hernandez to second. Plenty of time to go in this game. But in all honesty, this has been a very lethargic Indians club this weekend. They had 1 base hit until the 9th inning on Friday night, then had the miraculous comeback. They got shut out on 5 hits yesterday. They don't look very sharp here today either, and not sure why. Indians down 2-0. Runner at second base. 2 down here in the third. The set and pitch, and it's downstairs, a ball 2-0.
It has been that kind of season for the Indians. They've had stretches where they're just not sharp, and they need to be defensively to help out the pitching because they haven't hit much most of the season. And unfortunately, it is happening here this weekend.
Brubaker's ready. Here it comes. Low 3-0. It's almost like the Indians are waiting for somebody to hit a home run and wake them up. Dangerous way to play this game. Minnesota, Cincinnati, they're scoreless in the 4th. Cubs now lead the White Sox 6-0 in the 2nd. If the White Sox lose and the Indians lose, White Sox finish in 2nd. Santana swings, drives one, deep center field, gone! Into the bullpen! And maybe that'll jumpstart the Indians. A 2-run home run to center field, and Carlos Santana has tied this game at 2. Oh, what a big pick-me-up for the club as Santana has doubled and now homered to center. And the Indians have tied it on Santana's blast, just to the right of center into the bullpen. His 8th homer of the year, giving him 28 RBIs, and the Indians have tied the game at 2. Here's Franmil Reyes. The wind by Brubaker, the pitch, and it's in there, a strike. Maybe that is the spark the Indians have been looking for, because now they really do control their own destiny unless the Cubs fall apart. The pitch. And it's down and away, a ball. And you can say, well, what difference does it make? No fans, this, that. Hey, you're more familiar with your home park. You're not packing and getting into a plane. You're home for a few days. The pitch, down low, a ball, 2-1 to count. And the Indians don't care who they play. Yankees, Toronto, King Kong. They'd rather be playing here at home, at least for round one. Now the 2-1 pitch. Reyes checks and takes a strike, 2-2. Boy, that ought to get the Indians going. Carlos Santana with that 2-run homer with 2 outs to center here in the third. Brubaker. Feet parallel to the third base foul line. Starts into his windup, and the 2-2. High, ball 3, 3-2. Well, the other thing now, too, Santana with a double and a homer today, maybe he takes some confidence into the postseason because this club desperately needs Santana to get back to being Santana. Reyes swings, drives one fairly deep right, front of the track. Osuna makes the catch. And that's a positive sign to see Reyes drive the ball the other way.
But the better Phil Maton out of the bullpen. Cal Quantrill's days complete. He worked 3 innings, allowed an unearned run and an earned run, 2 runs total on 4 hits. Did not walk a batter and struck out 2. And at just about the right amount of pitches, looks like 35 pitches to tune him up for some bullpen work in the postseason. Brian Reynolds to lead things off for Pittsburgh. He singled his first time up. Switch hitter left side. Maton delivers, and his pitch is swung on and fouled back out of play. Good fastball from Maton. Low to mid-90s. Has a cutter and a curve as well. And it's been, for the most part, a very good season for Maton, although some hiccups down the stretch. But still a real nice breakthrough season for him. Here's the 0-1. Swung on. There's a slow tapper to short. Corralled by Lindor. Fires to first in time for the out. 1 down here in the 4th inning. Jim Rosenhaus along with Tom Hamilton, bringing you Tribe Baseball from Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland. Brian Motze back at Command Center on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Browns a winner today. Now the Indians trying to take down a win here that could set them up nicely for that wild card playoff round starting Tuesday. Eric Gonzalez, the batter, bounced into a double play his first time up. Maton fires, breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. Good curve that time by Maton. Gonzalez in a real tough stretch down the stretch. Here's the 0-1. Low and outside, 1-1. The former Indian finally getting a chance to play every day, and for the most part it was a very good season for him. But this last half of September has been a mighty struggle at the plate. Right-handed hitter. The right-hander Maton delivers. Curveball swung on and missed. Nothing but the breaking stuff to Gonzalez. Carlos Carrasco talking about that on Friday night when he had a good night against Gonzalez. He said, I'm going to keep throwing him the breaking stuff until he hits it. Here's the 1-2. Curveball, chopped foul at home plate. We'll do it again at 1-2. Visit your local Ohio Kubota dealer and test drive the Kubota L2501 compact tractor. See why it's the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. 10 years running. Visit GoKubota.com. The 1-2. Curveball missed inside. 2-2 the count. Maton takes a look in at Roberto Perez for the sign. Now he sets. And his 2-2. Swung on. Line drive. Left field coming on. Naylor. And he makes the catch of a screamer off the bat of Gonzalez. 2 up, 2 down for the Pirates in this 2-2 ball game. 4th inning. J.T. Riddle will step in. Everstream is the business-only fiber network. If your business demands a high bandwidth, low latency network, it's time to forget the big telecom status quo. Everstream, faster fiber, better business, everstream.net. Here's the pitch. Swung on, chopped foul by Riddle for strike one. And this is the Chick-fil-A double play inning if the Indians turn 2 here in the 4th. Use the Chick-fil-A app to get your free breakfast variety entree from Chick-fil-A. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball outside. 1-1. You can do that at any participating Cleveland, Akron, Canton, and Sandusky Chick-fil-A location, and they serve breakfast till 10:30. 2 down, bases empty. The 1-1 to Riddle. On the outside corner for a strike, another curve. Riddle reached on an error his first time up in the 2nd inning. That was that botched pop-up. Carlos Santana ran into Cesar Hernandez. The ball dropped. Santana charged with an error, and Riddle later scored. The pitch swung on, foul back up over the screen. 1-2 the count on J.T. Riddle. He's had a tough go down the stretch. Batting just .116 in his last 15 games. Pirates really struggling most of the season offensively. Just never really got on track. Here's the 1-2. Fastball up high. 2-2. For Phil Maton, this is appearance number 23. He's 3-3 with an ERA of 4.79. The higher ERA due to some rough appearances this month. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. But a sharp outing this time around for Maton as he sets down the side in order. Driving Pirates tied at 2. Bottom half of the 4th inning now as Josh Naylor will lead things off for the Indians. Facing right-hander J.T. Brubaker, who's into the windup. Here comes his pitch. Bounced in there for ball 1. Naylor singled his first time up. He's been swinging the bat better here down the stretch. Hitting a 304 clip coming in last 9 games. And always good energy from Josh Naylor. Here's the 1-0 from Brubaker. Fastball missed outside. 2-0 the count on Naylor, to be followed by Jordan Luplow and then Roberto Perez in the home half of the 4th inning. Light breeze blowing to right center on a beautiful late Sunday afternoon now. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swung on, ground ball up the middle, on through a base hit into center field. Naylor is now 2 for 2. So leadoff base runner for the Tribe as Jordan Luplow comes to the plate. Time for the Cleveland Clinic caregiver shout out. Congrats to the Clinic for becoming #1 in heart care in the nation 26 years now in a row. Hear how the Cleveland Clinic cares for every care in the world at clevelandclinic.org. Luplow bounced into a double play his first time up, but he's been swinging a hot bat of late. Right-handed hitter. Another chance to play against the right-hander. Brubaker delivers. Just missed outside. Went off speed that time with a slider. Luplow coming in. Last 17 games just hitting a shade over 300 at 302. And the walk-off home run against the White Sox earlier in the week. Here's the 1-0. That's a strike on the inside corner. 1-1 the count. First time he's ever had a walk-off home run. Indians 2 runs, 5 base hits. Pirates 2 runs, 4 hits. Brubaker goes to first. Naylor spun his wheels but somehow got back in there. Boy, he went to get back to the bag and his legs were moving so fast he couldn't get any grip on the ground and didn't get anywhere, and then finally just fell forward and was able to make it back. 1-1 the count on Luplow. Outfield plays him to the opposite field. There is a big gap in left center and a lot of room down the left field line. Here comes the 1-1. Swung on, chopped foul over to the Indians dugout on the third base side. Keep your business operating with Ohio's expert commercial truck dealerships. Valley Ford Truck and Valley Ford of Huron, your full-line Ford Transit and Super Duty truck leaders. Tribe in a 2-2 ball game here. Of course, the out-of-town scoreboard getting heavy looks today. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Luplow with Naylor at first. Brubaker delivers. Fastball down low. The White Sox, a win today would take care of a lot for them, but they're trailing the Cubs still. Bottom of the third now. 6-0. That game at the White Sox home park on the south side. They're having a tough day so far. 6-0 Cubs, bottom of the third. And again, if you're just joining us, a White Sox loss coupled with a Tribe win here, and the Indians would secure that 4th seed and a home series in the wild card playoff round starting Tuesday night against either the Blue Jays or the Yankees. 2-2 the count. Brubaker's ready. Here's his pitch. Swung on, ground ball, third base. Hayes to second for one. Over to first. Safe at first base. Frazier's throw just wasn't quick enough, and Luplow legs it out as he hustled down the line to stay out of that double play. So one down with a runner at first. And the number 8 hitter, Roberto Perez, will step in. And now Luplow, Sandy Alomar, and looks like had athletic trainer James Quinlan out there to have a look, make sure Luplow's okay. Looks like he is. And they're going to leave him in the game, so that's good news. Tyler Naquin had to leave last night's game early, but is available today. And obviously the Indians trying to get through this one with no injury issues whatsoever. They'll be about as healthy heading into a postseason as they have been in quite some time. No major injuries to speak of for the Tribe. Here's Perez, walked his first time up. The pitch from Brubaker. Perez showed bunt, takes a pitch up high. Ball one. And that's the big story. No injuries to speak of for the Indians on our Elk and Elk injury report. Elk and Elk serious lawyers for serious injuries. Give them a call at 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Now the 1-0 from Brubaker. Swung on line, back to the mound, caught by Brubaker. Nothing Luplow can do. He's caught in no man's land. The flip to Bell in time to complete the double play. Well, on a bullpen day for the Tribe, they turn to their third pitcher. It'll be Cam Hill, the right-hander, in a 2-2 ball game. We head to the 5th inning. Cal Quantrill started, worked 3 innings, allowed both runs. Then Phil Maton a 1-2-3-4th, and now Hill, who makes his 18th appearance for the Indians. He's 2-0 with an earned run average of 4.50. He'll face Jose Ozuna, who drove in the first run in this game with an RBI single back in the 2nd inning. Ozuna, right-handed hitter, playing right field. Hill works out of the stretch at all times, and the right-hander fires, and it's a breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. Now the Indians' pen, Oliver Perez starts to loosen up for the Indians. Now the 0-1. Swung on. There's a high fly ball, deep right center, hit well. Back is Mercado. He won't get this one. It's gone. Rattles around in the seats in front of the bullpen. Ozuna has gone deep, and the Pirates are back in front by a score of 3-2. Jose Ozuna staying up the middle, goes to right center, and he greets Cam Hill rudely with a home run, and Pittsburgh is back in front. number 4 on the season for Ozuna. Boy, nothing coming easy this weekend for the Tribe. Up to the plate steps Andrew Susac. He lines one to left. Right there, though, is Naylor, and Naylor makes the catch. So 1 down. Back to the top of the lineup for Adam Frazier. The Indians have partnered with the Cavs and the Browns to make sure Cleveland sports fans around the country have their voices heard in local, state, and federal elections this November. Go to Indians.com/vote2020 for nonpartisan resources to check your registration status and make your plan. Ohio's deadline to register for the 2020 elections is October the 5th. Frazier looks at ball 1 from Cam Hill. Made the club out of spring training. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, low and in. Should say summer camp. And then spent a little bit of time at the alternate site before returning about 2 weeks ago. Here's Hill's pitch. Swung on, line drive, right center field. That gets down for a base hit, maybe more. Luplow cuts it off just in front of the warning track, but Frazier has an easy stand-up double. And Adam Frazier continues to swing a hot bat in the last week of the season. Doubles with 1 out. And the Pirates have hit Hill hard here in the 5th inning. We'll see if he can pull it together, but tough assignment here. Ke'Bryan Hayes will step to the plate, and he's hit safely in his last 8 at-bats. Something that hasn't been done in a Pittsburgh uniform since Andy Van Slyke back in 1994. And he won't get a chance this time around. The Indians say, you know what? Go ahead and take first base. They want no part of Hayes. And that's going to be it for Hill, as here comes Sandy Alomar out to the mound. Oliver Perez has been loosening. And it looks like we'll see the veteran left-hander as Hill's day is done. We'll take a break. Pitching change brought to you by Cleveland Clinic. It's the Pirates 3. The Tribe. Perez comes on in relief for the Indians with a couple of, or at least one left-handed batter due up next, then a switch hitter in Josh Bell, but he's on to face Colin Moran, who has been up twice and struck out twice. Dollar Bank is proud to be the official retail bank of the Indians. Dollar Bank continues to be fully committed to customer needs and has been since 1855. Yeah, it's been a good year for Perez. 20 appearances. He's 1-1. His ERA 2.08. He's also saved a ball game for the Tribe. And he's on now with 1 out. Runners at first and second. Indians trailing by a run here in the 5th. And Moran digs in from that left side. Perez with every pitch you can think of as he delivers. Fastball tapped on the ground to the second baseman Hernandez. To the bag for 1. Lindor to first. Low throw, and it squirts past Santana. Coming home on the play is Frazier. And what looked like an inning-ending double play is not turned, and a run scores. The Pirates now lead it 4-2. Well, the Indians were victimized by an error earlier in the ball game in the second inning. And that time, a fairly sharply hit ground ball to the second baseman Hernandez. A good feed to Lindor at the second base bag. But Lindor on the transfer looked like he had a little trouble getting a good grip on that ball. His throw was low. We've seen Santana scoop those before, but he could not make the short hop pickup on the backhand side. And the first error on the season for Francisco Lindor cost the Tribe a run. So it's now 4-2 Pittsburgh with Josh Bell at the plate, runner at second base, 2 down in the inning. And Perez delivers. Inside, he hit him. I mean, not even close. Bell's hit by the pitch. And now it's first and second. Got him right on the backside. Well, the Indians obviously looking for a sharply played game here today, but 2 defensive miscues have led directly to a pair of Pirates runs, and Pittsburgh leads by 2. So some obstacles to overcome here today for the Indians of their own doing. Up to the plate, Brian Reynolds, another switch hitter, in from the right side. Perez delivers. Breaking ball, low and outside. Reynolds has singled and bounced to short in 2 trips. And again, what's on the line for the Tribe? A win. And now, nobody holding Bell at first base. Santana way off the bag with a runner at second. Perez came off the mound and ran over to first, right at Bell, who then kind of faked going back, and they had a stare down, and now Perez is back on the rubber. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike, 1-1. But the Indians, with a win today, would have a chance at home field in the wild card playoff round. They need help from the Cubs, and they're getting it in a big way. The 1-1. Breaking ball. He tried to check his swing, couldn't do it. Missed it, and it's 1-2. But the Cubs are playing the White Sox. If the White Sox lose and the Indians win, the Indians, well, they're home for the wild card playoff round, and the Cubs are clobbering the White Sox today, 7-0, that game in the top of the 4th. The 1-2. Breaking ball down low, 2-2. But right now the Indians trailing as well, 4-2 here in the 5th inning. Perez trying to wiggle out of this without further damage. First and second, 2 down. Long look in by the veteran lefty. Now he sets. Here's his 2-2. Swung on, chopped foul at home plate. We'll do it again on 2-2 to Brian Reynolds, one of so many returning players in that Pirates lineup who have not had as good a season as they had a year ago. Reynolds looked like he had that good breakthrough season last year, but this year came in hitting just 188. 2-2 the count on it. Perez delivers. Fastball called, strike 3 on the inside corner. Catches Reynolds looking, side retired. We'll make that our JT Brubaker back to work with a 2-run advantage once again. And he's facing Oscar Mercado at the bottom of the Tribe lineup. 4-2 Pittsburgh, bottom half of the 5th inning. Brubaker at 65 pitches, and his next is a fastball up high to Mercado. 1-1 the count on the Tribe center fielder. Indians with more activity going in the pen as expected. Nick Whitgren starting to heat it up. Here's Brubaker's pitch, and Mercado lines it foul down the left side. Good swing, good line drive, just foul down the left field line off the bat of Mercado. Francisco Lindor is next, and then Cesar Hernandez as the Indians try and get right back in this thing. They're trailing by 2. Here comes the 1-2 from Brubaker. Swung on, chopped foul at home plate. And the count remains 1-2. Dominion Energy would like to remind you, whether you're an individual or contractor, state law requires that you call 811 before you dig to have those underground utilities marked. It's simple and free. Just dial 811. Now the 1-2 to Mercado. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him to chase the slider. And Mercado's retired on strikeout number 3 for JT Brubaker. The Ohio native, former Akron Zip. That's a pretty good one going today. Francisco Lindor, the batter, 0 for 2. He's fly to center, fly to left. Tuesday is National Coffee Day, and the good folks at Dunkin' Donuts say it's National Dunkin' Day, too. You get a free medium coffee to celebrate, hot or iced. Maybe you stop in with any purchase on National Coffee Day, which is Tuesday at Dunkin' Donuts. The pitch to Lindor. Breaking ball, down low, ball 1. And Lindor, who had really gone through a nice stretch for a long time, was hitting over 300 for about a month, has fallen down a little bit down the stretch here. The 1-0 is grounded to the second baseman. Nice high hop for Frazier, who flips underhand over to Bell. 2 up, 2 down for the Tribe here in the 5th. But it has not come easy for Frankie down the stretch. Time for our Smuckers Indians memorable moment. Brought to you by Smuckers, headquartered right here in Northeast Ohio. The J.M. Smucker Co. makes food that people and pets love. And on this date, 1920, the Tribe defeated the St. Louis Browns 8-4 as future Hall of Famer Tris Speaker collected a pair of base hits. Cesar Hernandez takes strike one. The 1920 Indians won 97 games, American League champs, and defeated Brooklyn to win the World Series. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball down low. Hernandez has reached on a bunt base hit and bounced to first. 2 down, bases empty. Tribe trailing 4-2. Here's the 1-1. Swung on, ground ball to the first baseman Bell. He's up with it, takes it to the bag in time for the out. Side retired in order for the Tribe. They'll need some late inning magic today to keep this one going. The 6th inning brought to you by the Great Lakes Brewing Company, the unofficial craft beer of the between innings.
Now the Indians have dug themselves a hole here. The Indians have played a sloppy game so far, and through 5 innings, Pittsburgh's taken advantage of it and lead the Indians 4-2. Indians have already committed 2 errors, and it's accounted for 2 unearned runs. So with home field at stake for the Indians, unfortunately, their play has not risen to the standard you need to try to finish this thing off. Boy, the Indians are getting a ton of help, too. The Cubs are waxing the White Sox 7-0. Hi again, everybody. Tom Hamilton back with you. And after 5 innings of play, the Indians trail the Pirates, who have 4 runs on 6 hits. The Indians 2 runs on 5 hits. Nick Whitgren, the 5th pitcher to work for the Indians, facing Eric Gonzalez, who's 0 for 2. And Gonzalez fists one foul to the right, strike 1. Cal Quantrill went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. He allowed 4 hits, struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. In a bullpen game, Phil Maton then a scoreless inning. Cam Hill a third of an inning. He was hit hard, giving up 2 runs, 1 earned. Oliver Perez 2/3 of a scoreless frame. Whitgren misses high, 1-1. J.T. Brubaker has made 1 mistake. Carlos Santana, a 2-run homer to center in the 3rd. That's been it off Brubaker, who has struck out 3, walked a batter, hit a batter. The pitch, and it's downstairs, a ball. 2-1 the count. Errors by Santana and Lindor have been pivotal today. And the Pirates have capitalized on the Indians' mistakes. Jose Osuna has a solo homer to right center, an RBI single. The pitch, outside, 3-1. Ke'Bryan Hayes, solo homer to center. And the Pirates lead the Indians 4-2 after 5. That's your game summary, brought to you by Ford. Ford is America's best-selling brand. Whitgren fastball slider change delivers. And it's swung on and missed, full count. Another good year for Nick Whitgren, his 25th appearance. He's 2-0 with a save, an ERA of 2.78. The Purdue Boilermaker trying to keep the Indians within striking distance, and hopefully the offense will come to life. And Whitgren gets Gonzalez swinging. Tough weekend. Gonzalez 0 for 11 in this series. 1 down. Here's J.T. Riddle 0 for 2. The Indians, with a win and a White Sox loss, would be the number 4 seed and a host either the Yankees or Blue Jays on Tuesday. But if the Indians lose, they're headed to a number of places. The set and the pitch. It's swung on, ripped into right center. Base hit for J.T. Riddle. So the Pirates have had a hit in every inning but 1. The Indians are either going to Oakland, they're either going to Minnesota, and I think it's pretty obvious they're no longer potentially going to Chicago. That was a possibility when the day started, but the White Sox are getting drilled. And if everybody loses in the Central, Minnesota, White Sox, Indians, Minnesota wins the division crown. They're a game up on Chicago. Boy, Chicago's just had a brutal last week of the season. Here's Jose Ozuna. RBI single, solo homer. The pitch, and it's downstairs, the ball. 7-0 Cubs leading the White Sox in the fifth. Minnesota clinging to a 1-0 lead over Cincinnati in the sixth inning. The Reds are in, so today doesn't mean anything for them. Now the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, drilled to left, down the line it goes. It's going to get to the wall. Riddle's on his way to third. He's going to be stopped there. And it's a 3-hit game for Ozuna. All he needs is a triple to hit for the cycle. So Pittsburgh is playing this game like home field advantage is theirs if they win. They have just come out loosey-goosey. They're playing hard. If they win, they finish 20-40. They're going to end up with the worst record in baseball and the number one pick in next July's draft. But you'd never know it the way they have played this weekend. They could very easily be looking at a sweep of the Indians today. That's how well they've played. So the Indians bring the infield in for Andrew Susac, who's popped up and flied out. Pirates trying to blow it open. They lead the Indians 4-2 here in the sixth. Runners at second and third, one out. The set by Whitgren and the pitch. And the right-handed hitter looks at a ball off the outside part of the plate. Toronto Blue Jays, they're in trouble. If they had hoped, here's the set in the pitch, and it's downstairs, a ball 2-0. If the Blue Jays had hoped to leapfrog the Yankees, right now they're trailing Baltimore 7-4 in the fifth. They've got to win, and the Yankees have to lose. And the Yankees are losing 3-0 in the fifth, but the Yankees are a game better. Now, if they ended up with the same record, Toronto owns the tiebreaker over the Yankees. They'd finish second. New York would go on the road as the number 8 seed. There's a pitch in the dirt, and the count is 3-0. So, lots to be settled here in the next couple of hours. And the National League is wild and getting wilder. Although it looks like St. Louis is going to play its way into the playoffs and not have to play that doubleheader tomorrow in Detroit. The 3-0 pitch. There's a strike. 3-1. Cardinals are leading Milwaukee midway through that game 5-1. Whoever wins that game is automatically in. So then the Cardinals could avoid having to play a doubleheader tomorrow in Detroit. Otherwise, the Cardinals will finish the year playing 58 games, not 60. Infield in, the 3-1 pitch. And it's a ball outside, and Whitgren walks the number 9 hitter who was just brought to the Pirates team today. It is just not a good day for the Indians. Bases are loaded, top of the order, and Adam Frazier 1 for 3 with a double. And pitching coach Carl Willis is heading to the mound. There are so many goofy scenarios. Told you about the Cardinals leading Milwaukee by a score of 5-1 in the fifth inning. Cardinals win, they're in. And if they win, the Cardinals are the number 5 seed. Now, the Brewers could lose and still get in. But then the Giants would have to lose, and the Phillies would have to lose. The Giants are losing 2-1 to San Diego in the sixth inning. And Philadelphia is losing to Tampa Bay 3-0 in the fifth. Again, the infield partway in, top of the order, Adam Frazier, and he looks at a strike in the outside corner, good changeup. The Indians infield is at a spot here, partway in, where if a ball is hit hard right at him, like a one-hopper, they'll turn two and get out of the inning. If it's not hit hard, they've got a chance to get that ball, come home, and get a force at the plate. The 0-1. Swung on, drill, deep right center field. Luplow misread it, sails over his head, hits the track, goes up against the wall for extra bases. Riddle is in, Osuna is in, and Luplow misread a line drive. He broke sideways, but he didn't break back as he was going laterally, and it sailed over his head for a 2-run double, and the Pirates are blowing it open, leading the Indians 6-2 here in the sixth inning, and 4 in a row have reached off Nick Whitgren. And the Indians' defense today has been as shabby as it has been at any point here in 2020. So Frazier has his second double and 23 RBIs. Again, the infield is drawn in. Ke'Bryan Hayes, what a weekend he's had. The pitch, and he takes a called strike. He had 8 consecutive base hits in 8 consecutive at-bats, and then the Indians intentionally walked the rookie his last time up. Infield in, runners second and third, 6-2 Pirates. That pitch is in there, a called strike, 0-2. Adam Simbers warming in the Indians bullpen, and that's a case here then that they will feel this game is out of hand, and they don't want to have Whitgren make any more pitches. Just get him ready for Tuesday. Here's the set in the 0-2 pitch. A swing and a foul back. Man, this kid, even on his foul balls, is attacking aggressively. And the Pirates, give them credit. They have not rolled over. They have played hard. Again, all that credit not only goes to the players, but the tone and the culture that has developed under rookie manager Derek Shelton. Susac at third, Frazier at second, 2 runs in, 6-2 Pittsburgh. And if the Indians lose, it's over as far as home field advantage. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. If the Indians lose here today, they're on a plane tonight. Now the 0-2. Swing and a foul back again, an aggressive hack on a 2-strike pitch. Now, where are the Indians going? Well, right now it's Minnesota. Again, that could all change. Twins, of course, are leading Cincinnati 1-0 in the sixth. The pitch, swing and a foul back again. Boy, this kid's having great at-bats. If the Minnesota Twins win, the Minnesota Twins are the number 2 seed. The only way Oakland becomes the number 2 seed is if the A's win and Minnesota and the White Sox lose. We're going to have a quiz here in a few minutes. Hopefully you can answer them all correctly. That pitch swung on and missed. Good slider. And the Indians have finally gotten Ke'Bryan Hayes out. Big strikeout for Whitgren, his second out in the inning. Runners stay at second and third. Pirates lead it 6-2. So the Oakland A's, by virtue of how they've played this weekend, they've kind of, I don't want to say mail it in, I hate using that term, but they haven't played with much energy. And they got swept in a doubleheader yesterday by Seattle. They're losing again today, 2-1. I think what it's telling you, for the most part, teams are like, whatever. Let's just play the playoffs. We don't really care that much about where we're going. That pitch is high, ball 1-0. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but with no fans, what you're finding now is that teams, for the most part, are like, home field is fine. For Minnesota, it's really a big deal because they're the best team in baseball when they play at home. The Yankees, they're 10 times better at home than they are on the road. Now the 1-0, swing and a miss, 1-1. But otherwise, the way clubs are looking at it, would you like it? Yeah. Is it imperative? No. And that's kind of what we've seen play out this weekend with teams getting into the playoffs and kind of taking the foot off the pedal. 6-2, Pirates leading the Indians. 6th inning, runners at second and third, 2 down. Whitgren's ready. And the 1-1 pitch. Check swing. Did it hit him? I think he glanced off his bat. Foul ball, 1-2 the count. Minnesota at home is the best team in baseball. The Twins are 24-6 when they play at home. 12-17 on the road. The Yankees are 22-8 when they play at home. 11-18 on the road. Whitgren, this is pitch number 26 as Moran steps out. Indians wanted all their relievers to get an inning in today, with the next outing being Tuesday. This isn't how they envisioned this playing out. 6-2, the Pirates beating up the Indians for the second day in a row. Whitgren's ready, and the 1-2 delivery. Swing and a foul upstairs. We'll do it again at 1-2. So right now, the Indians are headed to Minnesota. They could still be headed to Oakland. As far as heading to Chicago, well, the White Sox are trailing the Cubs 7-1 after 5, so that looks like that's out. Whitgren really taking a lot of time between pitches. Now he's ready. Here it comes. Swung on, ground ball back up the middle. Diving stop, Lindor. Gets up, throws to first. Dug out by Santana. Throw to the plate, slide, tag. Got him! Not quite sure why the Indians wanted 4 outs in the inning, but they get him. Bottom line is the inning was over when Moran was robbed of a base hit up the middle by Frankie.
AM 1100.
6-2, the Pirates lead the Indians. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, J.T. Brubaker, the Springfield, Ohio kid, delivering to Jose Ramirez, who's batting left-handed. And the pitch is in there, a called strike. Ramirez has been hit by a pitch and flied out. Ramirez taking. And it misses, ball 1, 1-1. The next offering, and Jose floats one into left, twisting foul down the line. And it hits the line, hits over the wall for a double. He didn't hit that very well. And it just hugged the line. And Jose Ramirez has his 15th double to start the 6th inning. I'll tell you one thing. One Indian who goes all out all the time is Jose Ramirez. He has had a marvelous MVP-type season, especially over the last 5 weeks. And that doubles his 15th. Here's Carlos Santana. He may be having his best game of the year offensively. A double and a 2-run homer to center, 445 feet away. Santana takes a breaking ball strike. Now the set by Brubaker, and the 0-1 pitch to Santana, and it's low, 1-1. I say Springfield, and really in fairness to the good folks in New Carlisle, that's really where Brubaker is from. He was born in Springfield, and New Carlisle is just west of Springfield. But that's where Tecumseh High School is, and that's where he still lives, New Carlisle, in the offseason. The pitch. And it's in there, called strike. And the count 1-2. Well, JT Brubaker, if there are tons of Indians fans and they own a diner in New Carlisle, he's going to get charged double for his next luncheon because he's keeping the Indians from getting home field advantage in the playoffs. Now the set, now the 1-2 pitch to Santana. And it's high, ball 2-2. He's made really the one mistake to Santana, the 2-run homer to center in the third. Otherwise, the Indians, in all honesty, have not played a very good game. They haven't really swung the bats very well all weekend, and today there have been mental mistakes and physical mistakes, just almost kind of like the Indians are distracted. The 2-2, down low, full count. I think it tells you that to be good in this game, and the Indians have to play good all-around baseball to win. They don't just go out there and throw the bats and gloves out there and win. Boy, if your focus is off a little bit, doesn't matter who you're playing. You'll pay a price.
There's a fine line between wins and losses in the major leagues, and the Pirates will tell you that. Look at all the close losses they've had.
Now, come Tuesday, hopefully the Indians can flip that switch. Six to 2 Pirates here in the 6th. Brubaker's ready on the pitch, and he missed down low. So Santana's good day continues from an offensive standpoint. He has struggled today defensively, but he has doubled, he has homered, and now a walk. And the encouraging thing on that walk is he didn't try to do too much there after the home run and tried to hit another home run. He just stayed within himself and put together a good at-bat. Now the Indians have a couple of guys on, and the Pirates, Oscar Marin, the pitching coach, is out to the mound. Gives us a chance to tell you that while the Indians are losing 6-2 here in the 6th inning, in the games that matter, Miami leads the Yankees 4-0 in the 6th inning. Yankees haven't played very well lately. The Cubs are throttling the White Sox 7-1 in the 6th. I mean, think of the White Sox, the way they're going into the playoffs. They will, if they don't rally today, will have lost 7 out of their last 8 when they start the playoffs. Cincinnati, Minnesota, that's a 1-1 game in the 6th inning. All right, here's Franmil Reyes. Man, oh man, does he need a big hit. He has struck out, flied out. He's batted 162 over the last 3 weeks. He hasn't homered since September 1st. Brubaker's ready. Here it comes. He waves at it. And again, he is pulling off. Just looks like he is trying to pull everything instead of staying on the ball and driving it the other way. Ramirez at second, Santana at first. Nobody out, 6th inning. Indians have plenty of time. The key here is trying to get a run or two and just keep pecking away. The next delivery, and Reyes takes down and away, and that time he did not chase the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Indians still have time to rally and still have time to get home field advantage. But they're starting to run out of time. The infield now covered in shadows, much hitter friendly. That pitch in the dirt knocked down by Susac. Everybody stays put. So right now the hitter is certainly able to pick up the spin of the baseball much easier than before when the hitter was in the shadows and the pitcher was bathed in sunshine. Just a glorious day. Lake Erie was just so beautiful and calm. Driving down Lake Road and Clifton Boulevard today. 80 degrees. Already all kinds of boaters were out there early this morning. Been a great summer for boaters too on Lake Erie. Outfield playing Reyes toward right. The left fielder, Riddle, is almost in the gap in left center. Now the set. Now the 2-1 pitch. And it's down low, 3-1, and Reyes has put himself in a hitter's count. Encouraging at bat the last time for Reyes when he drove one to deep right. It was caught, but that's the approach the Indians want from Franmil Reyes. Sets good power the opposite way. The big man, 6'5", 265, now 25 years old, awaits the 3-1 pitch from Brubaker. Here it comes. A swing and a high fly ball deep center. Back is Reynolds. Track, wall, gone! For the first time since September 1st, Franmil Reyes can circle the bases. And the Indians are back in the game. They trail the Pirates 6-5. Reyes with his 9th home run of the year, giving him 33 RBIs. And holy cow, was that a great sight for the Indians to see. And now a Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen by manager Derek Shelton. Carlos Santana, a 2-run homer to center in the 3rd. Franmil Reyes, a 3-run homer to center here in the 6th. And the Indians are within a run. This is Hags, Hearns, and Hagler today. Only we're not going to go 3 rounds. The Indians trailing the Pirates 6-5. Amazing how one swing of the bat changes the complexion of this game. But you wondered with Reyes, his last at bat, he had stayed on the ball and drove it to deep right. Was that a sign maybe of things to come? Well, evidently it was, because then a 3-run homer to center here in the 6th. And the Indians are back in business. And J.T. Brubaker gave the Pirates 5 strong innings, but then gives up the 3-run blast here in inning number 6, and he'll leave in favor of the right-hander, Jeff Hartley. So the book on Brubaker is that he went 5 innings, and he gives up 5 runs on 7 hits. He walked 2, he hit a batter, he struck out 3. He also gave up 2 bombs. That's the Indians' offense today. Carlos Santana, 2-run blast to center in the 3rd. Franmil Reyes, 3-run bomb to center in the 6th. And now here in the bottom of the 6th, still nobody out. Josh Naylor to face Hartley, who throws in the mid-90s. A sinker, slider, changeup. The righty's pitch, swung on, tap back to the mound. Hartley with the underhand flip to first. 1 pitch, 1 out as Naylor is retired. That'll bring up Jordan Luplow, who is 0 for 2. Hartley's numbers on the year: 1 win, no losses, a 3.80 ERA, 21st outing. The number, though, that has got to scare you if you're Derek Shelton: Hartley in 21 innings has walked 19. Jordan Luplow has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Jeff Hartley, and you spell his first name Geoff. I know many of you were wondering as that pitch is outside for ball 1. This is his 2nd year in the Pirates bullpen. Hartley, Illinois native, sets, delivers, and Luplow looks at a strike, 1-1. Hartley attended Quincy University to play college basketball. He played there as a freshman. Then he transferred to Lindenwood University to pitch. That pitch fouled back, 1-2. And Lindenwood is a Division II program. He was drafted by the Mets after his junior year, and he didn't sign. He went back to college as a senior, and then Pirates made him a 29th round pick. Now he is in the big leagues. The pitch, a swing and another tapper to the mound, and fired in the dirt, and a backhanded grab by Bell. What a play by Bell on Hartley's sinker in the dirt. And that is out number 2. Now catcher Roberto Perez has walked and lined out to the pitcher. So the Indians are back within striking distance. 6-5, the Pirates lead it. 6th inning, 2 down, bases empty. Cubs still lead the White Sox 7-1 in the 6th. Perez takes a strike. Boy, it would be a shame not to take advantage of that, wouldn't it?
You gotta be. If there were fans on the south side for this weekend, oh my goodness.
The 0-1, and it's in there 1-1. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to be Rick Renteria popping out of the dugout to make pitching changes.
No, sir.
He went from manager of the year and in 1 week to White Sox fans wanting to ship him to Siberia. That pitch in there, strike 1 and 2, but that's the nature of this game. The second guessing in this sport is unlike any other. 6-5 Pirates try batting with the bases empty, 2 down in the 6th. Hartlieb is ready, and the 1-2 pitch. A swing and a shot to right field, a base hit for Perez. And again, that's when Perez is at his best. You heard Chris Antonetti, the Indians president, on the pregame show talk about, I asked him, why would you think the Indians will start hitting on Tuesday when they haven't hit all year? Not to be Nancy negative. Sorry, Nancy. But just want to find out what a president or a GM or a manager is thinking. What keeps them believing? And Chris pointed it out. He said in 2016, he goes, I didn't even know who we were going to have pitch the next day. And the next thing you know, it's Game 7 of the World Series. Oscar Mercado bangs one to right. Perez skips over to avoid getting hit. He'll go to second, and Mercado with a 2-out single the other way. And Perez, with alert base running, was able to stop and jump over the Mercado base hit. And Mercado, who was 0 for 19, is now on at first. Perez is on at second. And Frankie Lindor's got a chance to make amends for a big error that cost the Indians a run early. Indians' defense today has been shoddy. 2 errors have cost the Indians 2 unearned runs, and then a ball that wasn't played correctly in the outfield led to more. Lindor 0 for 3. 8th man to bat in the inning. Tying run at second. Go-ahead run at first. 2 down in the 6th. 6-5 Pittsburgh. Hartlieb is ready to pitch. And he bounces it in there, and Susac with a great block. But Chris was saying, you know, you keep believing in your hitters or whoever might be struggling. And he said, I learned that firsthand in 2016 with no Salazar, no Carrasco, and then Trevor Bauer, after one start, a brilliant one against Boston, nearly cuts off several fingers and was pretty ineffective the rest of October in 2016. Chris said, you wonder, what are we doing tomorrow? That pitch swung on, foul back 1-1. How are we going to survive? And he said, we know how that all turned out. And he said, after that, he said, not that I didn't always believe in our guys, but you see it firsthand in October. Expect the unexpected. And you never know who's going to step up and get hot. The Indians have scored 3 in the 6th. They have 2 on with 2 down, trailing by a run. Lindor, 2 flyouts and a ground out today. The pitch. And he swings and smokes it on the ground to second. Bobbled by Frazier. Recovers, throws, and gets Lindor. Hard hit ball, but it's out number 3. But Franmil Reyes has put the Indians back in business. Pirates 6, the Trot. Cleveland 5 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors, 5 men stranded. Nick Whitgren worked an inning, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, struck out 2, walked 1. James Karinchak, the 6th relief pitcher to work today. Fastball curve for Karinchak. Cleanup hitter is Josh Bell, 0 for 2. Hit by pitches last time. He'll swing it left-handed. Shift to the right. Karinchak sets, fires. Bell lays off the high heat. Karinchak's rookie year has been marvelous. No wins, 2 losses, 4 saves, an ERA of 2.77. The opposition batting 165 off Karinchak. That curveball low, 2-0. The issue with him is command. 16 walks in 26 innings. He also has 50 strikeouts, so he averages 2 strikeouts an inning. The pitch and a fastball strike on the outer edge. 2-1 the count. By the way, that 6th inning, the wild one it was brought to you by Great Lakes Brewing Company. Enjoy the crack of the can and the roar of the crowd with Great Lakes Brewing Company, the official craft beer of the Indians. Outfield toward left. The pitch waved at, high heat, 2-2. Josh Bell might be a guy you want to stay hard with. We saw him hit some breaking balls, but boy, is he chasing the fastball this weekend. But don't let him make contact. Now the 2-2 offering. Swing and a miss through the fastball right by him. Karinchak has a strikeout to start the 7th. Nick Turley, a left-hander, up in the Pirate bullpen. Dollar Bank is proud to be the official retail bank of the Indians. Dollar Bank continuing to be fully committed to customer needs. They have been since 1855. Brian Reynolds, the switch-hitting center fielder, batting left-handed. 1 for 3 with a single. Been a doozy here today. Each team 9 hits, 6-5 Pirates. The pitch, and it's a high heater. Meanwhile, the Cubs still lead the White Sox 7-1 after 6. Again, if the White Sox lose, the Indians win. The Indians have home field on Tuesday. The pitch, swing and a miss. He's just throwing fastballs by people. That was 97 miles an hour. 1-1 the count on Reynolds. Now, if the Indians lose today, doesn't matter what the White Sox do. The Indians lose, they're out as far as home field advantage. Now the 1-1 pitch. High, ball 2, 2-1. Minnesota leading Cincinnati 2-1. If the White Sox lose, and it sure looks like they will, well, then the Twins win the Central, regardless of what the Twins do. Now the set, now the 2-1. High again. Ball 3, 3-1. What's at stake for the Twins is if they win, they lock down the number 2 seed behind Tampa Bay. Then Oakland would be 3. The pitch, bullseye, and the count is full. If the Twins lose and Oakland wins, and if the Twins still win the Central, Oakland, though, is the number 2 seed. Thus, that's why we don't know who's going where. The payoff pitch to Reynolds. Swing and a miss. Well, I tell you what, Karinchak has gotten back to throwing fastballs today, and he's overmatching the Pirates here in the 7th. 2 down, nobody on, 6-5 Pittsburgh. Miami is shutting out the Yankees 4-0. That's significant because, well, maybe it isn't, because Toronto's losing 7-4 to Baltimore in the 7th. There's a pitch that was a strike called a ball. If the Yankees would lose and Toronto would win, Toronto would leapfrog the Yankees and finish in 2nd place. And the Yankees would be the number 8 seed and go to Tampa. The 1-0. There's a curveball strike. Oakland leads Seattle 3-2, so Oakland's keeping the heat on Minnesota. Whoever finishes with a 3 seed will host Houston. That much we know. The 1-1, swing and a foul tip into the catcher's mitt on a curve, 1-2. So again, I don't know, depending on what you think about matchups. To me, the number 3 seed gets the easier route than the number 2 seed because Houston's a 500 ball club. They're injured and hardly would think that they're as good as Toronto, New York, or Cleveland. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out on a curveball. How about that inning? Karinchak strikes out the side. And I would hate to be an elementary grade school teacher nowadays. Kids don't ever spell their names one way anymore.
How about the mailman? They're on their toes.
Cesar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, and Carlos Santana will all swing it right-handed. And in a lot of ways, all three have been better this year right-handed, especially Santana and Ramirez and Lindor, even though Lindor is not hitting this inning because it just seemed to try not do too much. Just make contact. So we'll see. 6-5, Pirates leading it. Bottom of the seventh, Turley 0-2 with 4 saves, a .392 ERA. Turley throws mid-90s, fastball and curveball. Now the set, now the pitch. And he went for strike one to Hernandez, who has a bunt single and 3 trips to the plate. Now the set by Turley. Now the 0-1 pitch. And a curve down and in, 1-1. So Jeff Hartley worked a scoreless inning, allowed 2 hits. The Indians have used the big ball theory today. And by that I mean 2 swings of the bat have been the difference for the Indians. That pitch hit him in the foot, and Hernandez on a curveball becomes the second Indian hit by a pitch. So the Indians have the tying run aboard in the 7th, and here's Jose Ramirez. Well, Jose is getting a lot of publicity lately from the national media about being the American League's MVP. Because of what he has done this month, he's pretty much put the Indians ball club on his back and carried them offensively, and people have noticed. He could really make a statement here, couldn't he? He's batting right-handed. The throw goes to first. Hernandez back as Bell had to reach around him and snag that high throw. Ramirez today has been hit by a pitch, flied out and doubled last inning, and then scored on the 3-run blast by Franmil Reyes. The outfield playing Ramirez the other way toward right, medium deep. On this gorgeous Sunday, 80 degrees, flags barely moving. The pitch, a swing and a towering blast, foul. This one may leave the ballpark down the left field line. And the count is 0-1. Jose Ramirez, second in the American League in extra base hits, third in the league in homers, third in RBIs, fifth in steals. And there are a lot of other categories you could get into that he's among the best. The pitch to him, up high, a fastball, 1-1. I don't know, Rosie. He's very deserving. Bieber's very deserving. But there are a lot of deserving guys. I guess I'd be surprised if the White Sox Jose Abreu didn't win it, but we'll see.
I would be too, because hard numbers-wise, he's leading Jose in a lot of those categories.
The 1-1 is up high, 2-1. Now Abreu has a lot more protection around him. He's hitting in a better lineup, but I don't think he should be punished for that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That WAR, which I'm still not sure I understand how that all works, but
another visit to the mound by Oscar Marin, the pitching coach.
Jose has the edge in that, whatever that's worth. But I think if you go most valuable, what he has done for the Indians to, rescue them on many an occasion has to count for something.
They're both very worthy. So is Shane Bieber.
It could be a tough vote for MVP.
Without Shane Bieber, you talked about him getting MVP votes last week. Without Bieber, the Indians aren't where they are. So, there are a lot of arguments. I think they're all good arguments, and they're all worthy. It's not like, well, now we know the National League Cy Young Award winner is going to be Trevor Bauer because he already announced it. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Ramirez. A swing and a fly ball headed to fairly deep center. Reynolds back on the track near the wall. He jumps and he didn't make the catch. Ball hits off the wall. Hitting second, Hernandez on his way to third. The throw of the slide, safe. And Ramirez in with a double. Ramirez almost passed Hernandez between first and second. Reynolds kept drifting on that ball instead of going straight back to the wall. And when he got to the wall, as he was still drifting, he leaped and didn't make the catch, and the ball hit off the wall behind him. And Hernandez thought all along the ball would be caught, and Ramirez almost caught him and wisely held up. And Hernandez fortunate to get to third, and another double for the little man. And now the infield pulled in for Carlos Santana, who swung the bat as well today as he has all year. Tried down a run, tying run at third, go-ahead run at second. The set by Turley, and the pitch to Santana. And it's down and in, a curveball that almost got his back foot. Reynolds is a really good center fielder, but you're taught, go back to the wall so you know where you are, and then you've got time to judge and leap. But that ball carried better than he realized. And it's a warm day, and the ball is certainly carrying. Pirates play the infield in, no shift. The set by Turley, and the pitch to Santana. And a check swing and a curveball, and he went around. 1-1. Santana, as a right-handed hitter, is batting .233, which may not sound like much, but it's 45 points better than what he's done on, actually 55 points better than what he's done left-handed. Now the set. Now the 1-1 pitch. A swing and a smash foul into the Indians' third base dugout, and Karam's back out onto the field. And Turley is just giving him a steady diet of curveballs. Boy, the Indians have a chance now to take the lead here in the seventh, and a chance to get a home field advantage for the wild card best of three series starting Tuesday night. But they've got to win to do that. The set, the pitch, a swing and a foul down the right side into the club seats. Turley came at him with a mid-90s fastball, and Santana fought it off. The Indians had trailed today 2-0, tied it at 2 in the third. The Indians had trailed 6-2, got a 3-run blast in the sixth, and now in the seventh, down 6-5, runners second and third, nobody out, infield in, and the 1-2 delivery. Way high and outside, a curveball that just didn't do anything. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reyes to follow. Santana today, a double to right. A 2-run homer to dead center, 445 feet away, and a walk. He's gotten the count back to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Santana, with his batting gloves on, wipes something out of both eyes. And optometrists all across Northeast Ohio cringe. Batting gloves aren't exactly sanitary, and you're sticking them in your eyes. Here's the 2-2 delivery to Santana. Swung on line drive, base hit toward right center. It's in the gap. It'll go to the wall. Hernandez scores the tying run. Ramirez scores the go-ahead run. And Santana with his best day of the season. And what a time to have it. Santana with a 2-run double to the gap in right center. And the Indians have come from 4 down and lead the Pirates 7-6. And Santana with 2 doubles, a homer, and 4 RBIs today. And now Franmil Reyes, a 3-run homer to center his last time up. Oh, the Carlos Santana of 2019 has reappeared on September 27th. The set by Nick Turley. The look back and the pitch. And a check swing foul for strike 1. And the key today with Carlos Santana, he has gone back to using the middle of the field. A 2-run bomb to center, and opposite field 2-run double to right center. The Indians have waited all year for Santana to get hot. Starting today and maybe carrying through to Tuesday would be just the right amount of time. Santana now 30 RBIs. And the Indians have scored 5 off the Pirates here in the last 2 innings to take a 7-6 lead. Now the set. Now the pitch. A swing and a miss on a curveball as Reyes tried to plant another one out in the pine trees beyond the wall in center. Still nobody out. Meanwhile, the Cubs lead the White Sox 10-1 in the 7th. Oh boy. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside all the way to the backstop. A curveball advances Santana to third on the wild pitch. And Turley has been all over the place. And now Reyes with a huge insurance run out at third with nobody out in the infield end. I'm sure he'll take it, but can you imagine poor Mike Segui? Planes, hotels, lined up to go to 3-4 different cities, and they may be staying right here.
He'd gladly make those phone calls.
Now the set by Turley. Infield in, the 1-2 pitch. High curveball, ball 2, strike 2. Boy, this is a week of Indians baseball where how many times has it looked like, man, the club is just in a funk of some kind, and suddenly it's the late innings, and everybody seems to awaken at one time. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, lifted high in the air. This will get a run home. Medium deep center. Catch is made by Reynolds. He's got a cannon. The throw, but not nearly in time. Santana scores. Reyes with his 4th RBI. The 2 men the Indians have needed desperately have come through today. Reyes and Santana, each with 4 RBIs, and the Indians have an 8-6 lead. Their second 3-run inning, and the Indians are in great shape now because you still have Brad Hand out in that bullpen. Here's Josh Naylor. That's the first out in the inning. Another terrific at bat by Reyes, and once again, he stayed up the middle. Naylor 2 for 3, a couple of singles. Skies one in the air, shallow right center. Frazier, the second baseman, drifting, makes the catch, and that is out number 2. That'll bring up Jordan Luplow 0 for 3.
But what this has done to whoever the opponent is for the wild card series, they now have to figure out if this is Santana and Reyes.
Yep.
What do we do with Ramirez now?
That's a game changer, isn't it?
They won't be able to be as careful with him if Santana and Reyes, and they're not doing anything more than they haven't done in the past.
Right.
It's just who they've been. They've just had a tough season, both of them, or at least a tough September in Reyes' case.
Well, Chris Antonetti looks like a prophet, doesn't he?
He sure does.
Here's Jordan Luplow, and it's a curveball strike, only it's called a ball. And there's another reason why Chris is the president and we're not.
Well, I think you're in that role, you have to have patience. I don't know how they do it, but they have patience like you wouldn't believe.
Turley is ready. Here's the 1-0 pitch. A swing by Luplow, and he popped it up. On the right side, now foul ground. The catcher making the catch is Susak. The inning is over, but what an inning. Santana, a 2-run double to right center. Reyes with a sack, and the Indians now lead the Pirates 8-6. Adam Cimber was just added to the club today. Logan Allen was basically demoted to the taxi squad, if that's how you want to look at it. James Karinchak, what an inning he had in the 7th, striking out the side. Cimber's had a tough year, but everybody will forget about it if he can dominate the Pirates here in the 8th. The sidewinder with a backdoor slider for a strike. Sinker slider. Cimber making his 14th appearance. No wins, a loss, a 4.22 ERA. He'd been sent back to the alternate camp. The pitch, and it's swung on. Weak bouncer headed to first. Gobbled up by Santana. He'll run to the bag himself for the out. So that's a big out because it comes against a left-handed hitter. Now Jose Ozuna. Sometimes, too, for a pitcher, whether it's Adam Cimber or anybody else, you're in a funk. You may hate it at the time, but it's best to get sent back to the minors, or in this case, the alternate camp. You're not pitching in a pressure-type situation. You can maybe work on some things, so when you do come back, you can be a valuable asset.
Nothing else, clear your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Come back with a fresh outlook.
Osuna's had a heck of a day. He's a triple shy of the cycle. Right-handed hitter. Cimber's pitch is high. Osuna, RBI single, solo homer to right center, and a double. 3 for 3. 8-6 Indians. Carlos Santana and Franmil Reyes each with 4 runs batted in. Now the 1-0. Swung on a bouncing ball up the middle. Lindor to his left gloves. From behind second, sets, throws. Got him! 2 down. Good range up the middle by Francisco Lindor. And now Andrew Susac. 0 for 2 with a walk. And for the Pirates, this must be deja vu. This isn't a one-run game, but they've lost 15 one-run games this year, 7 this month. And they looked like they had this game in hand, 6-2. And Santana and Reyes carrying the Indians back. Slider is outside a ball.
Well, they'll go into the offseason feeling a little bit better about their starting pitching, but there's some repairs needed for the pen for sure.
And that's always the case with a rebuilding ball club. The pen is the last thing that you really fix because sometimes that takes money, and you don't spend money on a bullpen when you're rebuilding. Now the 1-0 pitch, and it missed inside, 2-0. We've continued to keep you up to date on the scores of significance. And as always, that's brought to you by Cohen & Company. They've got offices throughout Northeast Ohio. Cohen & Company CPAs and consultants help private businesses find opportunities. That pitch fouled at the plate off his foot. Susac hopping around. 2-1 the count. You can learn more. Visit our good friends, CohenCPA.com/baseball. And on this final day, we want to thank all of the incredible sponsors and partners of the Cleveland Indians Radio Network, making this, as bizarre a summer as it has been, a fun summer because we've got baseball and the Indians are back in the postseason. Now the 2-1 pitch, and it's in there, a called strike, 2-2. Boy, what a pick-me-up this would be, not only for Cimber, but more importantly, for the Indians ball club if he gets through this 8th inning, and you can hand it over to Brad Hand, who is warming up as we speak. 8-6 Tribe in the 8th. The set and the pitch, and it's a little bit high, full count. Boy, Toronto must be kicking themselves, too. Well, they're coming back, but they trail Baltimore 7-5 in the 9th. The pitch, and it's inside. He walked him. I think we'll see Brad Hand right now. 2 down, a runner on, top of the order, and a left-handed batter. Let's see what Sandy Alomar wants to do. The reason I say that, and here comes Sandy. Baltimore leads Toronto 7-5 in the 9th. If Toronto can rally to win, they send New York to St. Pete as the 8th seed because New York is getting shut out. Well, it's not ideal, but Adam Cimber walked the number 9 hitter. So Sandy Alomar says, I'm not letting Adam Frazier tie this game with one swing of the bat. And closer Brad Hand comes in here in the 8th inning. 2 down, a runner at first, 8-6 Cleveland. Left on left, the Indians' superb closer delivers, and it's a called strike on the outside corner. Brad Hand having an incredible season. He hasn't had a blown save all year. He is a perfect 15 for 15 in save opportunities. Hand is ready. Checks first. And the pitch. And he just missed wide, 1-1. Frazier can hit the long ball. A couple of doubles today. He has 7 homers. Brad Hand leads the American League with 15 saves. And on the year, the veteran lefty is 2-1 with a 2.18 ERA. 28 strikeouts, 4 walks. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swung on a soft liner to left. Coming on Naylor. Makes the head-high catch. So Brad Hand will need to get a Radio Network.
News Radio WTAM 1100. Cleveland. Home of the Indians and Cavaliers. An iHeart radio station.
Tom Hamilton, Jim Rosenhaus, Brian Motze with you on this glorious Sunday. 80 degrees here in downtown Cleveland. Light breeze blowing out. And the Indians down 6-2 have rallied to take an 8-6 lead. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Blake Cederlind is on the pitch. Cederlind is making Major League appearance number 5. He's gone 3 innings, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Cederlind was selected by the Pirates in the 5th round of the draft 4 years ago. First time the Indians have seen him. The right-hander facing Roberto Perez, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. The set and Cederlind's pitch, and it's a fastball strike at 96. Tough day for Nick Turley. Right now he is the pitcher of record. He gave up 3 runs on 2 hits in the 1 inning he worked. Now the pitch, and it's up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Blake Cederlind. This is his 5th pro season. He's ready, and the pitch is waved at. Good cutter away, and the count 1-2. Boy, he's throwing his cutter in the upper 80s. Go along with that mid-90s fastball. That's a couple of weapons that can carry you a long way as a bullpen guy. Cederlind's next pitch, Perez fouling it back, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Now, again, he's only made a handful of appearances, but he's a 2-pitch pitcher. That fastball with good sink on it, and the cutter. Eight to 6 Indians. Perez swings, fouls it upstairs. We'll do it again at 1-2. Now, there are other games going on besides, I guess, the ones that we've been so focused on because of what it means for the Indians and where they're going to go or if they're staying at home and who they might be playing. I mean, the National League is a bizarro world. Here's the set. Here's the 1-2. And I guess the cutter was outside. Boy, not by much, 2-2. St. Louis leads Milwaukee 5-1 in the 8th. If the Cardinals win, they're in. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Brewers, even if they lose, can still get into the playoffs being 2 games under 500. The pitch, strike 3 called. Perez is out looking, and he knew it. The only way, if Milwaukee can't rally, because whoever won that game today was in. So St. Louis leading at 5-1 in the 8th. So the Cardinals win, they're in, and there won't be any doubleheader makeup playoff implication games tomorrow in Detroit, which I think baseball is happy about that. There's Oscar Mercado, 1 for 3 with a single to right. The pitch. Over his head, and did it get him in the helmet? Down he went. Boy, that was close. And evidently it didn't hit. Boy, you heard something. I don't know how it didn't hit him. That was at the face of Oscar Mercado. Blake Cederlind's ready. And Mercado says, you know what? I'm going to step out just a tad longer. Now the right-hander sets at the belt. and delivers. A swing and a line drive to left field, but it's right at Riddle. And he'll make the chin-high catch, and that's out number 2. And here's Francisco Lindor, 0 for 4. He'll bat left-handed. Milwaukee, even if they lose, can still get in. If the Giants lose and the Phillies lose. Right now, San Diego leads San Francisco 5-3 going to the 8th. And Philadelphia is getting beat by Tampa Bay 5-0 in the 8th. Can you imagine you lose today if you're Milwaukee and you go to the playoffs 2 games under? Frankie Lindor checks on a cutter by his feet for ball 1.
You lose, but you win.
I mean, these other teams have control over their own fate, and they're not able to get it done here today.
It's remarkable. Across baseball.
Yeah.
This is one of the few that a team is taking care of business so far.
The pitch, inside another cutter, ball 2, 2-0. And then trying to figure out the National League matchups. There are 44 different playoff scenarios going into today, so we're not going to try to explain them. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's a strike, 2-1. But, you know, San Francisco, they had to win, but they're getting beat. I just can't get over New York. They're getting shut out by Miami, 5-0. Miami doesn't really have anything to play for. 9th inning in the Bronx. The pitch, Lindor with a 1-hopper to the second baseman. Frazier throws him out, and we go to the 9th. Brad Hand trying to get a 4-out save and pretty much guarantee the end. Left, Josh Naylor is out. Delino DeShields takes over in center. Tribe up 8-6, 9th inning. Key Brian Hayes takes a slider strike from Brad Hand. Brad Hand has not had a multi-inning save this year. He got the last out in the 8th, and he's trying to nail it down for the Indians, and they'll stay home and play Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon here. That pitch down low, 1-1. Now, who the Indians will play, we shall see, as Key Brian Hayes in this game is 2 for 3 and has 8 hits this weekend. Here is the set, and here is the pitch. And it's a backdoor slider, strike 1 and 2. Baltimore has beaten Toronto, so the one thing we know now, Rosie, is it'll be the Yankees.
Coming off a shutout loss at home on a day where they could have helped themselves with a win.
Yeah.
It turns out not to matter, but it's an odd team this year in New York.
Yeah, streaky, aren't they? The pitch swung on, lifted high in the air to center. DeShields going back on it. He's got room in front of the track. I'll tell you what, Key Brian Hayes has had some kind of an impressive weekend. 1 down. So, Miami blanking the Yankees, but Toronto got beat. So, Toronto could have been the 5th seed. Now they're the 8th, and they've got to go to St. Pete. The Yankees are coming to Cleveland.
Where have we seen that before?
Yeah.
That seems like an annual occurrence when the Tribe makes the postseason.
Since the Indians have been in the playoffs since the mid-'90s, they've eliminated the Yankees twice. The Yankees have eliminated the Indians twice. Tiebreaker starting Tuesday. Colin Moran swings and misses at a breaking ball. Pretty darn amazing. And what it means now is the White Sox, the way things look, well, you know what? Oakland's leading Seattle.
They're going to have to go to Oakland.
They may have to go to Oakland if Minnesota, well, they're tied with Cincinnati. Minnesota, here's the set and the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a slider, 0-2. If Minnesota loses and Oakland wins, Oakland's the 2 seed, they would host the White Sox, and the Twins would get Houston. Otherwise, it's the other way around, correct?
Yes.
Here's the set. Otherwise, Oakland would host Houston. If they're the 3 seed, Minnesota would host Chicago. The pitch, swing and a foul at the plate, still 0-2.
And I maintain Oakland doesn't want any part of Houston. That's a division rival. They've had some testy games this year.
Well, Minnesota and Chicago split their 10 games. That could be interesting.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of like if you get into the NCAA college basketball tournament and your first round opponent is somebody from your conference. It doesn't feel like the tournament, does it?
No. And they know you, you know them.
Yeah.
It's just different.
By the way, the Indians lead 8-6 here in the ninth. One out, nobody on. To get your best deal on any new or used car, go to Sunnyside Honda, I-71 and Pearl Road in Middleburg Heights, or go online at sunnysidehonda.com. Now the set in the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Tried to hold up. He chased the slider away. Colin Moran strikes out for the second out in the ninth. And the Indians are 1 out away from wrapping up home field advantage, unless miracle of miracles happen on the south side. Cubs lead the White Sox 10-2 in the eighth inning. Legacy Roofing is Ohio's premier roofing service provider. Whether you need a roof repair or a full roof replacement, call 855-GOT-ROOF for a free estimate. Visit LegacyRoofingOH.com for more details. Josh Bell batting right-handed, 0 for 3 with a hit by pitch. Tribe up 8-6, ninth inning, 2 down, slider down and in a ball. Brad Hand will finish as the American League save leader this year. He will get number 16 if he gets Josh Bell to end it here in the ninth. 8-6 Indians. The set. The pitch. A swing and a little lazy fly to right, twisting toward the corner. Luplow on the run, makes the catch. Ball game. And the Indians do it again. They have come from behind to stun the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-6. And that all but clinches home field advantage and the number 4 seed on Tuesday. And you know what that will mean? A prime time game against the New York Yankees. By the way, see your Northern Ohio GMC dealers for attractive offers. GMC, we are professional grade. Today, Carlos Santana and Franmil Reyes got rid of a couple of months of frustrations as both knocked in 4 runs to carry the Indians' offense. The Indians trailing today 6-2 when they came to bat in the 6th. And Franmil Reyes blasted a 3-run homer to center to make it 6-5. And then in the 7th inning, Carlos Santana ripped a 2-run double up the alley in right center to put the Indians up by a score of 7-6. Reyes followed with a sac fly, and the two of them each had 4 RBIs today. And the Indians have an 8-6 win. It's not official yet because the White Sox have to lose, but the White Sox are getting crushed by the Chicago Cubs 10-2, and the Indians have a date with the New York Yankees in all likelihood coming up on Tuesday night. We'll be right back.